Hello and welcome back to Democracy, everybody. Welcome back to Helldivers 2, where today we're going to be going over all the primary weapons and ranking them against the bots. Now, this is my own personal list, so if yours differs from this one, awesome, it should. And we're just going to be talking about each of these and where I kind of would place them. So we got our trusty tier list here, and let's begin with our assault rifles. So first up, we have the AR-23 Liberator, the standard assault rifle, and the standard assault rifle works kind of okay against bots. It's generally not bad. It can kill all the small bots, but so can basically every weapon, so that's not a huge deal. It can kill medium bots fairly quickly, so long as you're either hitting them in the head or like in the backpack. You can kill them pretty fast that way. It doesn't really do much to the big enemies unless, of course, they're not focusing you. Then you can take them down with just about anything. The Liberator is an okay weapon. I don't find it to be as useful against bots as it is against like bugs, so I'm going to put it probably into C tier, but it's an okay gun overall. It's nothing bad, it's just that there is better options than it. And speaking of better options, up next we have the AR-23P Liberator Penetrator. So the Penetrator just has less damage than the Liberator. It has a pretty similar stats to it though across the board. It does have medium armor pen though, and medium armor pen is really useful against the bots because it allows you to take down like the Striders and the medium bots much easier than it otherwise would be. Or not necessarily easier, just with less accuracy. So at range, it does help out quite a bit. This one I think is better than the Liberator, at least against bots. It feels better against them and like squids as opposed to bugs where it just kind of feels about the same. This one is notably better, but it's still nothing like way crazy. It wouldn't really be one of my go-tos for bots, but it's not a bad option, especially considering the other assault rifles. So I'd put this one up into B tier. Assault rifles are a little bit awkward to recommend for the bots anyway, since some of the other weapons like the Marksman's rifles feel a little bit better against them usually. Then we have the AR-23C Liberator Concussive. This one is awkward against bots. The Concussive is awkward in general, in my opinion. I know some people really love it. I'm not one of those people. This one is a little bit strange. It's got a drum mag in it. It can stun the bots, which is kind of useful. It is really good against like berserker swarms if they just throw a bunch of them at you. Then the Concussive is actually kind of nice because it just keeps them locked down somewhere over there, even if it's not killing them. They're not right up on top of you, hacking you away with the chainsaws. Against small bots, it's fine. Against the medium bots, like the ones with the shields, it's still pretty decent. It's actually not bad. And I'd rather use it over the Liberator, but I still wouldn't rather use it over like the Penetrator, so I'm going to actually put the Concussive like higher up into C tier, but not that much higher than like the Liberator. Then we move on to the ST-51 Assault Rifle, which I don't have, and I have only used it a little bit against bots. It felt pretty decent against bots, so I would probably say B tier, but this is just off of the couple of times that I used it. It still hasn't came back around to the Superstore, otherwise I would buy it and I'd have more information about it. But yeah, right now I'd put it there, but with a really big question mark. How do you guys feel about the ST-52? This one, I, again, haven't really tried out too much. Then we have the AR-23A Liberator Carbine. Carbine shoots faster than the regular Liberator. It's a little bit more difficult to control. It can kill the bots potentially faster if you can keep it on target, but it's kind of just a side grade to the Liberator against bots, so I'd say it's also into C tier. Then we got the Tenderizer. Tenderizer does feel pretty good, and since this one got buffed, it actually hits really nice breakpoints, so if you want to turn this to like semi-auto and basically use it as a battle rifle, it's pretty good for the medium bots if you're just aiming for the head, or even for the backpack, it's still pretty good. For all the small bots, it kills them really quick. If you set this to full auto and the high rate of fire, it feels pretty nice too. Still doesn't really do much against the bigger bots, but this one is probably one of the better assault rifles, so I'd put this one up into A tier. I think it's actually pretty decent. The Adjudicator is another one that's really good against bots since it has medium armor pen. Not quite as much damage as the Tenderizer, but this one is a lot more forgiving, and that's pretty nice. It does kill Striders faster since you can't really kill them quickly with the Tenderizer or on the higher difficulties. When they're fully enclosed, it's going to be pretty difficult to do that. So you're probably just going to have to rely on your secondary or support weapons or whatever it might be. Whereas the Adjudicator still can hurt them, which is pretty nice. This one is just all around a pretty decent assault rifle, so I'd also put it up into A tier with the Tenderizer. Now onto the Marksman's rifles. First up, we have the Constitution. So the Constitution against bugs was really awkward to recommend. As a spear, it's actually pretty good with peak physique. Against bots, melee is kind of hard to recommend because so many of the bots can just knock you down as you hit them, so that makes it kind of awkward. The Constitution can still kill them fairly quick with the bayonet, but you usually have longer range to fight with, which does make it so the Constitution is better. This still can one-shot headshot medium bots. It has to three-shot Striders, though, I believe, if you hit them all three in the weak spots. So it doesn't kill them very quickly. It still has the slow rate of fire and still the slow reload, and as well as only holding 5 shots, so that makes it rather awkward. It's not a terrible gun though, but it is probably the weakest of the Marksman's rifles. I wouldn't put it into D tier though. I would put it into C tier because the rifle itself is pretty good and the spear is okay, so it kind of evens out to about there. Then we have our new gun, the R6 Deadeye, the lever action. This gun is awesome against bots. This gun hits really hard, does like 300 damage per shot, has medium armor pen on it, and that's really all you need against the bots. Even though it has a slow reload, that doesn't really matter because you usually have plenty of time to reload, unless they're all right on top of you, but it still has the same problem as most other weapons at that point then. This one has really great range. You can two-shot Striders with this. You can one-shot all the medium bots with it. Even if you're not hitting weak spots, you can usually 2 or 3 shot them, so that's pretty good. It can hurt the big bots if you hit them in the weak spots too, like you can kill Hulks with this fairly fast. The R6 Deadeye, I think I'm going to put high up into A tier. It's bordering on S tier though. We'll wait until the end and then maybe change some of these around because I'm not too certain about this placement right now. Then we have the R6 Diligence. Diligence can also be really good. Diligence is actually really nice against bots. It holds 25 rounds. You can fire it very fast. It can one-shot headshot any of the medium bots, which is great. It doesn't work very well against Striders because you can't hurt them thanks to it just having light armor pen, but it can kill all the other medium bots really easily if you have good aim. So if you have really good aim, this one might be S tier, but otherwise I'm probably going to put it high up into A tier because the Diligence is actually quite nice. Then we have the Diligence Counter Sniper, which does have medium armor pen. It holds less shots, but it does more damage. This one is basically everything that you would kind of want against bots, where it can hurt all the small ones, it usually body taps them, and all the medium ones, you can either spam them down with body shots or one-shot headshot them. So that is fantastic. It's 2 taps Striders, I believe, if you hit them in the like undercarriage part. Otherwise, I think it's 3 shots to the leg. So it can kind of keep up with like the Deadeye, but you can reload the entire magazine faster, so it doesn't have the reload problem. Like this one is fantastic. This one is going to be our very first S tier weapon, I think. Besides maybe the R6, we'll have to wait and see because that's kind of what I compare these two, where this one does more damage, the R6 does more damage than the Counter Sniper, but the Counter Sniper does have faster follow-up shots and it does have a faster reload overall. And then we have the Plaz 39 Accelerator Rifle. This one is the kill zone rifle, and against bots, it's actually not bad. Against bugs and squids, this one I do not like the feel of at all because it's just too easy to get overwhelmed by it. And this is a 3-shot burst rifle. So you get 3 shots, it holds 9 rounds, so you also get 3 shots before you need to reload, or I guess 3 bursts before you need to reload. It can be really awkward, but against bots, you usually have a lot more time to fight them, and it works better as a sniper rifle. You can actually snipe things further away. As well as this one can one-burst quite a few enemies, like it can one-burst Striders, it can one-burst any of the medium bots, it can actually one-shot headshot them if you hit them with it, so that's great. So it's actually a pretty good gun on bot missions, even though I don't think it's better than the other Marksman's rifles besides like the Constitution. I think it is better than that one, but I would still say the Diligence can out-kill this one pretty easily, and the R6 and the Counter Sniper can kind of do the same job, but a lot better. So I can't really put this any higher than B tier, but that's better than it was against bugs, so that's kind of nice. Then we move on to submachine guns, and once again we got another gun that I haven't really used all that much against the bots. I used it more against bugs, and the Knight I thought was fine. It's been a while since I used it though. I believe this is one-handed, and any of these one-handed weapons are really good if you put them in conjunction with like the riot shield, since then you can solo pretty much any of the medium bots, no problem. You can just fire a whole wave, assuming they're all fighting at you from roughly the same direction. You can usually just block and then pick them off. So the Knight shouldn't be any worse than any of the other submachine guns, so I'm going to put it up into B tier, but again, I don't have that much playtime with it. Then we have the STA-11 submachine gun. This one actually feels really good against bots when you have the riot shield, because this one has very little recoil. It can spray down most of the medium bots, besides the Striders, very, very quickly, and it can kill any of the small bots really fast. So that inherently makes it pretty useful. I think it's pretty much on par with a lot of the other one-handed submachine guns, which is pretty decent. At least if you're taking it in conjunction with the riot shield. By itself, it's still okay, so I'd put this one up into B tier. Then we have the SMG-32 Reprimand. The Reprimand has medium armor pen on it, which is really nice. It does high damage, which is also good. It shoots slow, but that's not such a big deal. And this can kill any of the medium bots very fast. It can also kill the small bots really quickly. Reprimand is generally pretty good and would probably be my go-to submachine gun for bots, so I'm going to put this one up into A tier. It's really nice. The SMG-37 Defender is also actually pretty nice. Again, you compare it with the riot shield. The only one of these that you can't is the Reprimand, but the Reprimand's pretty good by itself. The shield does make this one a whole lot better. It has basically no recoil. It's pretty easy to hit bots in the head, and you can kill the medium bots, I think, with 2 headshots from this. You can kill all the small bots pretty fast with it. Again, it's actually pretty nice, so I'd put this one up in a B tier. The pummeler is actually pretty good on bot missions because it stun locks them pretty easily. And if you have the shield up, again, it's actually really strong. I think this is actually where the pummeler excels the most at. Against like bugs and squids, it's okay. It's not really one of my favorite submachine guns, but against bots, it's actually pretty good because the slower rate of fire doesn't really matter if you can just keep stun locking some of the bigger bots down. And since you have the shield to protect yourself, then this one's pretty good. If you don't have the shield, then this one's weaker, but I'm going to put this one actually up into A tier as well. Then we move on to shotguns. First up, we got the Punisher. And the Punisher's good. It's nothing way crazy against the bots, though. It only has light armor pen. It does have stagger on it, which is good. And this can kill the medium bots fairly quickly. It can kill all the small bots super easily. It doesn't do well against certain enemy types, though. It can't really hurt, like, the Striders too very much. It does okay damage against some of the other bots. The Punisher's just kind of okay against bots, so I'd say it's like B tier. It's not bad. Then we got the Slugger. Slugger is actually really good against bots. This one does high damage. It has medium armor pen on it, and that's kind of all that you need. This one is basically the same as like the Dominator is for bot missions. Dominator can shoot faster than this one, but that's not always necessary. This can one-shot headshot any of the medium bots. It has stagger on it like the regular Punisher, so that's really nice. I think this one's actually a really good shotgun for bot missions, so I'm going to put it up into S tier. Then we've got the SG-20 Halt. This one's also really good for bots. The flashbang is nice for keeping bots at bay. It's also really good with the flechettes because those have medium armor pen, so you can hurt any of the medium bots with this, and it can kill them with one shot with the headshot. Flechettes also don't have very much spread on them, so that's really good. So the Halt is another S tier shotgun in my opinion for bots. It's really good. The Cookout is kind of on par with the Punisher. It's a little bit more forgiving than the Punisher, which is great because the fire can at least take damage over time and it can kind of hurt things, as well as it still has a stagger on it, which is really good. But it's still not way crazy. It's much better against bugs and squids than it is against bots. It's still not bad by any means, but I would probably say it's also in B tier, like maybe slightly better than the Punisher, potentially. The Punisher can more consistently get one shot since it does higher damage, but the Cookout has more consistent crowd control since it just has the fire on it, so that's kind of nice. And then we got the Breaker shotgun. Breaker is kind of awkward to recommend against bots because it doesn't really have the stagger like the Punisher does, where that one can more easily knock enemies back. This still can one-shot medium bots as long as you hit them in the head, but it's less consistent than some of the other shotguns. It's an okay shotgun, but it's not much more than that, so I'd put it into like C tier. The Breaker Spray and Pray is even worse, and I think this might be one of the weaker weapons against bots because it doesn't really do that much damage. It's not really great outside of very close range. Yes, you can spam the bots down, but you could do that with the regular Breaker and it'd probably be better for the same job. And even with that, it's just kind of okay at doing that job. So, like, the Breaker Spray and Pray, I think, is going to be our first D tier weapon. It's just not way great against bots. I think it's a lot better against bugs and squids than bots. Breaker Incendiary is slightly better than the Breaker Spray and Pray because at least you have the fire, so you can do some tick damage. And if you just want to spam it into crowds, it can kill the small bots. But again, all the other weapons can do that really easily. So this one is also a weapon that just isn't really that good against bots. It's probably going to go to like C tier. I think it's slightly better than the Breaker Spray and Pray, but not by very much. Then we have the Crossbow. Crossbow is really, really strong against bots because this is a one-handed weapon, so you can take it with the right shield if you like. But even besides that, it does a ton of single target damage. It does really good AoE damage. It doesn't matter if the bots have medium armor on, you could still hurt them with the crossbow, so that's great. And even if they have shields, you can just aim directly at the shield and still kill them very quickly with the crossbow. On top of that, it has all the same utility that it usually does, so you can close up factories with this, you can hurt even some of the bigger bots with it, so like the explosive crossbow is actually really, really solid against bots. This one's going to go all the way up into S tier. Then we have the R36 Eruptor. This one is awkward. It got buffed again recently, so it now has heavy armor pen on it, which is really good against the bots. That makes it so you can hurt Hulks with it. You can hurt basically everything with the Eruptor, but it's still a bit awkward because of the rate of fire. It's basically always going to be worse than the crossbow for the same sort of jobs that it's trying to do because it does less damage and it has a slower rate of fire and kind of has all the same things that the crossbow can do. That being said, we just put the crossbow up into S tier, so this one is not going to be bad even on those bot missions. I don't think it's a crazy sniper though, because I think the battle rifles are kind of better than it usually, at least if you have decent aim. Like the counter diligence would also be better than this. Maybe the regular diligence would be better than this too. It kind of depends. And probably the R6 would be better than this. So I think I'm going to put the Eruptor either up into high B tier or low A tier. I think low A tier maybe, because there has been times where the Eruptor has felt really, really good against the bots. So long as they're not focusing you, and so long as you don't have like berserkers on top of you, you should be pretty good. And it is good for like engaging a lot of the enemies. It can take down things like Striders at a distance pretty well. It can take down all the medium bots pretty well. It's just that it is still a very awkward weapon, so you do have to build around the weapon itself, which means you're probably not going to be using this weapon most of the time, and you're probably going to take it with something like the MG43 or the heavy machine gun or something, and that's going to be mostly your primary weapon, and then you're going to swap to this as basically like the special weapon of that build. So under less than ideal circumstances, like let's say you lose your support weapon, maybe B tier, so maybe I should put it down there. I'll put it into B tier. I talked myself into that. Now we move on to the energy weapons. First up, we got the Plasma Punisher. Plasma Punisher's really good against bots. It's really nice. It can bully pretty much all the bots, short of things like Hulks. So this can kill any of the medium bots. It does AoE explosive damage, which is great. It ignores shields basically. It doesn't fully ignore them, but you can just bully anything that you hit with it. The stagger's really good. This one is fantastic. It's very forgiving too, since most of the bots can't get right up on top of you. If they do, it can be a little bit awkward since you can splash damage back to yourself. But the Plasma Punisher is really good. I'm going to put this one up into S tier too. And then we got the Arc Blitzer. Arc Blitzer is awkward, in my opinion. Arc Blitzer has always felt kind of awkward to me because of the slower rate of fire and the limited range that it has. That being said, it does have unlimited ammo, and it does do good damage per shot, so that is nice, as well as you can stun lock quite a lot of things to death thanks to this. You can do the same thing with the Arc Thrower, though, and the Arc Thrower has much longer effective range, so I would say that's probably better against bots. But the Arc Blitzer's not bad. It can still bully all the medium bots pretty easily. It can bully all the small bots. So that's good. I'd put the Arc Blitzer probably up into A tier, though, against bots. I think it's good. The main problem is if bots just don't want to get close to you, then the Arc Blitzer can be a little bit more awkward. If you're only engaging things at kind of a distance, then you have to get closer with it. But depending on the build, that may not be that big of a deal. And then we've got the Scythe. The Scythe is really awkward right now against bots. It is actually broken to where you can have infinite ammo with it, at least as of recording this. That still works on it. It does have light armor pen, which makes it not really that great, although it is just a laser pointer, so you just hold it on to the weak spot until something's dead, so it actually does kill medium bots fairly fast. It can't kill a whole lot of them quickly, though, so if berserkers are running at you, this weapon is pretty awkward as opposed to most of the other guns we've talked about. But at range, it's not bad, and for cleaning up stuff, it's not bad either. I think I'd put it up into C tier, though. It's just kind of okay, in my opinion. The Sickle is a bit better. The Sickle's kind of nice against bots because this is basically an assault rifle. It's got light armor pen, basically has infinite ammo. Does have infinite ammo now with the bug that's going on, so that makes it better. But even without that, it's still pretty good. The damage isn't crazy, and it does only have the light armor pen on it. So I'd probably put this one up into B tier, at least for bots. I think it's a lot better against bugs and squids than it is against bots, but still a decent assault rifle all the way around. The double-edged sickle, I think, is a whole lot better. You do need fire armor for this, but that's pretty good since they've added more fire bots, and the Hulks have always had fire on them. It's even better if you have a teammate with a stim pistol that can keep healing you up, then this one's really good. This one can have all the way up to heavy armor pen, too, so it can hurt every bot. If you'd like to, you can kill Hulks with this. It's not going to be quick as compared to some of the other weapons, especially special weapons, but it still can do that, so the double-edged sickle is pretty good. I think I'd put this one high up into A tier or low S tier. I feel like it's kind of the same way with the Deadeye, where under ideal circumstances it's really good, but sometimes the bots do damage you pretty quickly, and if you're on fire, you're taking more damage, that can be a little bit more rough with it. And then we got the Scorcher. Scorcher has always been solid against bots. It's always been a really, really good weapon, where this one deals pretty good damage, has medium armor pen on it, it's fully automatic now, and it can hurt basically all the small and the medium bots really quickly. Again, thanks to it being a plasma splash, it works against shielded enemies, so if they have a shield hold it up, you can just keep hitting that until they're dead. Aside from that, you can one-shot headshot like medium bots with this, and you can also just do pretty good DPS to just about everything. So like the Scorcher is really good, and generally speaking, you don't run through ammo as quickly with the Scorcher on bot missions as you do with like bug missions when we compared it earlier. So I would actually put this one up into S tier 2. I think the Scorcher is just an all-around really solid rifle. The only kind of problem with it is if you are running out of ammo, then that's kind of an issue, but that's always been an issue with the Scorcher. It has really solid stats all the way around, just a little bit ammo hungry. The Purifier is even better than the Scorcher. This one is absolutely crazy against bot missions, so this one's going to go to, like right up to S tier. That's an easy S tier. This one is basically the same thing as the Scorcher, just semi-automatic, holding 15 rounds, but you can charge up those shots doing even more damage, and they have a bigger splash radius. On top of that, the charged rounds do a ton of damage to just about everything, like the flying ships you can knock out of the air with plenty of these weapons, like the crossbow can do it pretty easily. Pretty much any of these up in S tier can. It's going to be a whole lot harder with some of them, like the Plasma Punisher is going to be really difficult, but it can do it. The Purifier can do it incredibly easy. You can knock the ships out of the air with just 2 shots to the engines. This is the gunships, not the transport ships. But even so, you can knock them out incredibly easy. It has really long range. It does really good damage. The Plasma Purifier is just fantastic. Then we have the Flame 66 Torture. This weapon is really awkward to recommend against bots. It's actually really strong on bot missions. If you get right up next to the bots, you can kill them very, very fast with the Torture. It's just that most of the time, getting within range of the bots is very dangerous regardless of how you've built. Even if you went with like full tank build, you can still die pretty quick thanks to them just all focusing fire on you. So the Torture is inherently going to be awkward on those missions, as well as the bots do implement longer ranged enemies, as well as they implement more flying ranged enemies thanks to the gunships, where the Torture can't really help with any of that. It's only really going to be good against the medium bots at kind of close range. It can actually hurt the bigger bots too, like you can hurt Hulks with this thanks to how the armor breaking works, but it's still going to be awkward because if you're that close to a Hulk, it can potentially just charge you and hit you with the saw. If you're not paying attention to the environment, it might be difficult to run around. So I feel like I have to put this one into D tier, but it kind of pains me to do that because this is actually a super fun weapon, but it is very situationally good. Where in certain situations, if you're holding like an area or it's eradicate the forces, this one's not bad because it kind of forces the bots to all run towards you, and if you have like the shield up, the big stationary shield, you can actually just kind of sit on the edge of that and burn everything that gets close to it, and they likely won't be able to get into the shield or hurt you, so that's nice. It's just that so many of the times if you need to run and go anywhere, the Torture is going to feel really, really awkward. And then we have the Dominator. Dominator is basically the same as the Slugger is, where it has very similar stats. They almost do the same damage. The Slugger does slightly more damage, I think 5 more damage than it. This one has a slightly higher rate of fire. It does have a full magazine reload, which is kind of nice. Still does good damage, has medium armor pen on it. It's just an all-around really solid weapon for bots, so I would also put this one up into S tier. It is very, very nice. And looking at this list, I might actually move the Deadeye up under certain circumstances, but I think I'm okay with keeping it there. Same thing goes with the Double-Edged Sickle. Like, these two might move up, but I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. There's actually not a whole lot of really bad weapons against the bots for primaries. It's just that some of the weapons are definitely better than others, at least in my opinion. So this is my list for the bot weapons. Where would you place these? Which ones do you find to be the best on bot missions? Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys next time. So bye-bye, everybody.